I want to start by saying there is no easy way to figure out how to conquer COVID-19. Obviously, that's what we've been looking for basically a year now, and the league has done an incredible job at keeping the players safe, as we saw in the bubble, and continuing on to this season. But this was a new one tonight, really strange, how Kevin Durant was scratched before the game to set it all up for you before we read the statement from the league. Then he comes in off the bench for the first time in his career. He plays 19 minutes of basketball. Then they find out that the contact tracing actually identified that he should not be playing in the game. So they pulled him, and now there are reports that he won't be traveling with the team. You could tell that he was frustrated. So lots of rumors were swirling around on Twitter and in the media. So the league did issue a statement, and Shams was there to report it. Kevin Durant has tested negative 3 times in the last day, including 2 negative PCR tests today. However, someone he interacted with this afternoon had an inconclusive test result shortly before the game. He was held out while that result was reviewed. Under the health and safety protocols, we do not require a player to be quarantined until a close contact has confirmed positive. During the game, a positive result was returned for a person Durant interacted with this afternoon. Once that test was confirmed positive, out of an abundance of caution, Durant was removed from the game, and contact tracing is underway to determine if he was in fact the close contact of the positive individual. So again, a ton in the air. Kevin Durant went on Twitter and what do I say? Went off on Twitter?
Just say he's expressing himself.
Was expressing himself on Twitter.
Yeah, that's a safe thing to say.
Not all of them we can show on television. So I guess if you're interested, check out his Twitter handle. Free me was one of them. That says a lot.
Yes, it does. Only thing I can say, KD, we feel your frustration. We're here for you. B-Wood, I think you agree, as ex-players, I don't know, if we were playing right now, we just feel for the guys. We feel for the owners. We feel for the referees. We feel for the ball kids. Everyone involved in this situation. Everybody's trying to, do the best they can to get through what we're all trying to get through. So, KD, just hang in there. You're balling. Just that's all we can really say. Just hang in there.
Brendan, you've just been in your basement this whole time, right? You haven't left since COVID started, so you're fine.
Nah, I've been hunkered down. In my bunker. I understand KD's frustration because he's one of the best players in this league. He's an MVP candidate. And every night, this new big three is trying to get more and more cohesion. These games are like practices, so they're very important for Kevin Durant. But Kevin Durant has to realize there's something that's bigger than basketball that's going on right now. It's called COVID-19. And the NBA is trying to make sure that they do everything possible to make sure that there's not an outbreak in this league. So as frustrated as Kevin Durant is, I would ask him to have patience with the league and the protocol, because all they're trying to do is protect him, his teammates, the rest of the guys in the league. And as 3D just said, the officials, the coaches, the workers in the ring, they're just trying to protect everybody. This is all about being safe. Safety is key right now. COVID is bigger than basketball.
It's just so interesting. I mean, you have to keep your circles really, really tight. But when everyone has a tight circle, even if it's only 3 or 4 people, and you put them all together and you start sweating on each other, I mean, there's only so many things that you can do. The league is trying to do everything possible, and so patience is definitely key in this process. I wonder what Kevin Durant's teammates were thinking. Let's hear from James Harden.
It's frustrating, especially, we follow the protocols. We get tested, every single day. So I don't understand the whole thing where he couldn't play, and then he came on the court, and then they took him back. It's just a lot going on. It's too much going on. It's kind of overwhelming, especially when we're in the midst of a tough game, and like these games are going to add up, especially if we're talking about playoff seeding. We're talking about positioning ourselves and to home court advantage and whatnot, and catch a rhythm and all that, So I feel like I don't know. It's overwhelming. It's frustrating. Yeah.
Have you had an opportunity to message him or see where his head is at before you guys leave for Philly?
He feels the same way, especially him already having it, and we get tested, like I said, every single day. So, and I mean he's been negative, so I don't understand what the problem is. If that was the case, the game should have been postponed. I feel like if, we're talking about contact tracing, he was around all of us, so I don't understand why he wasn't allowed to play and then was able to play and then took back off the court. If that was the case, we should have just postponed the game. That's how I feel. But through the midst of it, it was tough. Give Toronto credit. They made shots. They played well. But yeah, it's frustrating.
Malika Andrews, ESPN.
Hey, James, in the midst of sort of all that frustration, did you find it hard to sort of refocus? Did you have kind of questions going on in your head like, hey, what's going on? I want to pay attention to that. Or what was kind of the balance there of trying to be like, oh, we still have a game to play, but also.
No, we definitely have a game to play, but we're bringing it in a huddle. And coach is drawing up the first play of the game. And, we're like, where's Kevin? And Kevin can't play. We're like, all right, cool, whatever. All right. So then we're starting the game up, and then Kevin is able to play. It's like, all right, let's go. Then Kevin can't play again. It's like, all right, come on, what are we doing? So it was just, we try to focus on the game, try to focus on possession by possession, try to, get a rhythm because we started off slow. We're not here to make excuses, but it was just, it's a lot, it's a lot.
Thank you.
Alex Schiffer, The Athletic.
James, kind of going off your last comment, did you ask at all during the game, the coaches or anything, what was going on with Kevin, or because you did have a game to play, you were just kind of going with the flow with all that, and when he was around, and when he wasn't, you asked questions later?
Of course I asked what was going on, and they said, they just said contact tracing, and I'm thinking to myself, well, if it's contact tracing, then we were all in the locker room together. That means there's no game, if he's not going to be able to play. So, that was my thought process. And, once we started the game, I kind of forgot about it. And then Kevin enters the game. I'm like, well, I don't know. It must have been a confusion or a mess up or something, so we kind of we caught a rhythm. We came back, started playing well. And then he can't come back on the floor. I don't know. It was a lot. Like I said, it's overwhelming. We're not taking anything away from Toronto. They played an exceptional game. They made shots when they counted. They played, scrappy basketball like we knew they were going to do. For us, we just couldn't catch a rhythm, And when we finally did in that second quarter, we started playing well, and then we just got kind of stagnant again in that second half. So, yeah.
Christian Winfield, New York Daily News.
Hey, James, does a night like tonight kind of make you look at the idea of an all-star game or all-star weekend or whatever any differently? I mean, a lot of guys have been voicing different opinions, so I'm wondering where you stand on the subject.
I haven't said anything publicly, but I feel the same way as some of the players as far as there's so much going on as far as we're trying to, calm a virus down and, we're putting on an event, I don't know. I know what the reasoning is for it, but, I feel like, especially with a condensed schedule and it feels like everything was forced upon players. It's already draining. We playing a lot of games in a week. I feel like that was a week for us to kind of relax, be with our families and kind of take a step back away from basketball. So like I said, we're just in it.
Thanks for your time, James. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
I like the simplicity of his answer. We heard he couldn't play, so we said, okay. We heard he could play, we said, okay. Now we're confused and we're concerned about our health, but it's been a year of COVID, so you can't continue to exhaust yourself mentally when you're going through a season that's so physically exhausting. That how much more pressure can you put on yourself to have all the answers to something that we don't have the answers to? Brendan, what did you think about his response to all the questions about what happened tonight?
I think James was very frustrated, just the way Kevin Durant was frustrated. And like I said, these guys have to understand that everything is being done with safety in mind. And I know we want to play basketball games and we want to make sure that basketball games are played, but COVID is real. And basically what happened is the league was getting new information by the minute. And once the person that Kevin Durant was around tested positive for COVID, then they had to take him off the court. So at one point they thought KD could play. Then they realized he couldn't play, and the league acted accordingly. It's not ideal. It's not fair to the Brooklyn Nets, but COVID's not fair to anybody. And what they're trying to do is make sure that this situation doesn't spread. I cover the Washington Wizards. They had a COVID outbreak. James, you don't want that where 6-7 guys are out because they have COVID or they're contact tracing and guys can't practice, and the Wizards had to miss 6 to 7 games. So you don't want the alternative. I'll tell you that. As somebody that covers the Wizards, you do not want the alternative, James. The league is trying to basically save you guys from yourselves.
And the only thing to add to that, B. Wood, James, and all the players, that we're in all this together. And I always use my mom as an example, who lives with me, and it's like there's certain people that cannot come to my home now because I don't know where you've been. And I think that's the part of the safety protocol we're all trying to figure out. And James, you're right. I understand your frustration because you played with your teammate for 19 minutes. So you can understand where that frustration is. Wait a minute, when you played with us for 19 minutes, you took him off, or now we in danger because he contacted the person, now he's around us. So we get that frustration. Continue to follow the protocol. Continue to follow what we know is the information.
Yeah.
Let's all stay in this together.
If you see me looking at my phone, I'm listening, but this Kevin Durant tweets are coming
Yes,
in hot, so
they're coming in good.
I'm trying to keep up with it.
He's tweeting some more.
Oh, man.
You better catch
Somebody
up,
go
you would.
take KD's phone, man.